Hello and welcome to Talks with Moksha Mukti. And this is one of those spontaneous talks that arose out of nowhere in the environment. And I am giving these talks there is really nothing particular topic that I want to talk about. What I do want to point out is that I have said this in my previous talks. Actually, I wrote a paragraph regarding eternity, that you are eternal, that your true self, or that your essence, that your I would call it consciousness, because there is really no word to describe it. You see, you can call it consciousness, some people may call it soul, some people may call it true self, some people may call it that. So whatever name is, that is eternal. And what is happening dynamically in the environment as it is. So it is happening as it is happening. And we perceive data in the universe through 5 senses. And there may be 6th sense that I can't really speak about that because we don't know through our comprehensive collective mind, but there is something there. And Einstein might have called it spooky, because through logic and mind and what we have could not describe it. However, through quantum mechanics, quantum physics, these things have been described, and they are not spooky anymore. For example, Einstein called it the fastest object in the universe is the light. So he somehow calculated with the mathematical calculations and physics calculations, and based on calculations, he concluded the fastest traveling object in the universe is the light. And I think he also said there are something that he cannot describe or he cannot calculate, and he called it spooky. But they're not spooky anymore because we have quantum physics, and scientists like Alan Aspect, you see, he talked about, with evidence, tremendous evidence backed and supported from the physics community, scientist community, that when 2 atoms cross path and become related somehow, and that atom is separated million light years, million miles, not million miles, million light years miles. That's billions, trillions miles away when they're separated, right? Something happens to one atom, the other atoms happens to other atoms instantly. So if the light is the fastest traveling object in the universe, how can one thing happens to this atom and the other atoms is effective right immediately? Because it takes even for light to travel from sun to earth, it takes 8 minutes, and sun is not that far compared to other galaxies, outer galaxies that we have in the universe, which is trillions, many miles away, right? Sun is the nearest star we have that we know, talking about outer space, outer galaxy, many miles away. So that atom over there and the atom over here is talking instantly. Whatever happened to this atom is happening to this atom instantly. So they are communicating. Therefore, there is something within the universe that travels faster than the light. So there is information that is moving instantly. So with that evidence, Moksha Mukti can conclude that can't really conclude with that evidence, but through his own understanding, through his own peculiar knowledge, and what he sees, and backing with that evidence, he wants to say that there is one universe. This is only one universe, one body, and just like one body communicating to another body, it is communicating instantly. There is something there that communicates instantly, you see, because this is one body. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing is fortuitous concourse of atoms. What that is that when the universe needs atoms, see right here there is a in subatomic level there are atoms, and within atoms there is a subatomic particles like wave functions, other functions, and some scientists call it string functions. So functions are there within, underneath. So in that level, they are actually, in that level is energy, form of energy, right? If you look at the deeper level, atoms is energy, underneath the strings are energy. So these are energy that is dancing in the universe, and what is happening here in the universe is dance of molecules going here and there, and it needs to balance energy in the universe. Universe itself needs to balance energy in the universe to sustain itself. Otherwise, if it doesn't balance, it could collapse itself, right? So to balance energy, universe has a process to sustain, to balance the energy to sustain itself. So when the universe needs atoms somewhere else, trillion miles, 2 miles, whatever, somewhere else, the universe will immediately, instantly take atoms from this body. This body is atoms again. This body is atoms, molecules, string, wave function that is happening, right? There is a trillions of atoms here in this body. So when the universe needs atoms somewhere, it doesn't discriminate. We're not gonna take that atom. We're not gonna take that body. We're not gonna take that body. Although something may have the works have already gone in the process. So when the need arises, this universe will recycle this body and take the atom from this body and place it somewhere else instantly. Because one body, whole universe, it talks to each other instantly. Just like atom aspect, two atoms talking to each other, whatever happens to one atom is happening to another body, another atoms trillions of miles away, that is happening, right? So by scientific evidence, Moksha Mukti can speak about this existence, about the universe, what is happening, and that you can also see within you peculiarly that is happening. And you are eternal in a sense, because universe may take you from here in this human form, right? You're on Earth, planet Earth, and take you somewhere else. You see? Because what is happening, the universe is vast. Universe is just vast. This is the one universe. However, what Moksha Mukti sees, and this is backed by some scientists, there are multiple universe, multiverse, many universe, many dimensions. So energy is taken from here and taken there instantly. It is happening instantly. And so when the body, so-called death, occurs, the energy from this body is going somewhere else and new life begins somewhere else. You see? So there is no death. So death is here because of doctors' conclusion that when there is no heartbeat, when there is no breathing, this person is deceased, right? So they will give you a conclusion, this person is deceased, this is a clinical death. So when that happens, so what happened in this existence, in this memory? See, we have our memory. In that memory, Robin Pandey, legal name, Moksha Mukti is his so-called spiritual name, and that is functioning here. And this story is in this memory, this body's memory, and there are, I would say, at least 10,000 people, maybe more, maybe less, that knows about Moksha Mukti. And when this body is no longer here on this planet, that is called death. And I am speaking about death, not that this body, this Moksha Mukti, wants to commit suicide. No. It's not like that, you see, because the body's sole purpose on the planet is two things. One, we already spoke about this. I've already spoken about this. One is survival, two is reproduction. So survival, the universe has given survival. See, it wants to protect you, right? Unless, there's a demand, there's a need, like dire need, this will take it. But it most of the time it want to protect you and given tools to protect you. So first thing is survival. So the body, even each core, each cell, it wants to survive. And speaking about suicide, who wants to commit suicide is the thought, right? So thought comes out and says, there is no need for me to be here anymore. Everybody hates me, everybody, no one loves me, I don't have money I don't have resource to function, I don't have a job, I drink all the time, so on and so forth, is the condition that humans are facing on the planet. And some people, they don't have food to eat, that's also resources, right? So when such condition occurs, and people may go into this state called depression state, which is sadness, and in that sadness the thought arises, and people believe in that thought. And when you believe in that thought, again, the thought is like 90% of the time it's a fascist, it's a self-destructive, right? But there is a chemical balance within us. That chemical balance allows us to not to take life. But during depression, there is a chemical is low, and the thought comes, and that person believes in the thought and wants to take his or her own life. So that's what the suicide occurs, right? And by coming into Moksha Mukti talks here, what I am pointing is the thought is fascist, thought is self-destructive, and you do not want to believe in thoughts. It sounds like negative statement, but it is not, because you see, there is something that is happening in the universe, in the existence, that is happening on its own. And thoughts comes and goes, just like cloud in the sky is a process, right? And those thought is your reflection of what is happening in the reality. So thought is the reflection. It's like looking yourself in the mirror, right, in front of the mirror, and the thought is the mirror. And is that thought real? No, just like a mirror is not real. It gives you reflection about the reality. You're reflecting on the reality, and it is arising on its own. It is something like electromagnetic field arising from the biochemical process. It's a biochemical process that is happening. Through that biochemical process, the field is created, electromagnetic field. Same thing, there's a field, North Pole, South Pole field in the electromagnetic field on the earth. And actually mind creates 25 watts, up to 25 watts of the electricity. So you cannot believe in thoughts because they are happening on its own. It's energy, and thought comes from your own memory and what is in the environment, right? So it is happening, it is giving you reflection of the reality. It is not the reality. So if you stop believing in your thoughts, then that is one way to minimize suffering, one way to prevent suicides, one way to remain happy. I'm just using the word happy. And we know we can go into what happiness into detail, but I'm just giving word to kind of describe the pleasant situation, right? So those are all comes from thought. It's a mirror. So I am also in the process writing a next book called Mirror, and that's all about thoughts. And the mirror I am projecting is the mirror that is close to the reality, and this mirror is as close to reality as possible, and it is projecting to look your real self in that. So the mirror I'm presenting is the mirror that you're looking yourself in that mirror, as you are. So this mirror, Moksha Mukti's mirror, allows you to look yourself in there. It's not diluted mirror, it's not illusory mirror, it's the real mirror that is there to look at yourself, real self. It only projects the real self. So that's the book is about. So by coming into Moksha Mukti gathering, you see, you are kind of stop believing in your thoughts. Stop believing everything for a moment and observing who you are, observing everything. And through the phrases, Moksha Mukti will point you to look where, to see what, things like that. And that is only looking within you, not from outside, within you. Because the functionality, the body's functionality is happening within you, is happening on its own. But your thought is interfering with the process. And that's where the suffering comes from. That's where all the sadness comes from. That's where all the anxiety comes from. That's where all the fear comes from. That's where all the anger comes from, which will go into deeper on Saturday's gathering, July 18th, 3:15 p.m. gathering in Frisco. So we'll go into deeper regarding that. But this is just the spontaneous talks that arose. Moksha Mukti felt it was necessary to kind of express to whoever that is listening and viewing. And you don't have to worry about it, because just because you stop believing for a few minutes doesn't mean that you're going to erase everything from the memory. Because you cannot erase things from the memory. It is going to be there. Memory is going to be there, right? So we are stopping believing. We're stopping the belief for a few moments to recognize who you are, and I'm presenting you the mirror to look yourself in the mirror. I am pointing out to look your real self in the mirror, who you really are. In there is no drama to be something other than yourself. So when you be yourself, there is no demand to make you something other than yourself. So it's not exhausting your energy. It's not making your thoughts impure. It is happening on its own, exactly. And so, of course there are simulations in the environment, right? So because of the simulation in the environment, it is making you do things. You're taking action, which is actually a reaction. Some people may say, well, I'm taking action. Well, it may seem like you're taking action, but that is the reaction, right? And when the action is strong, you say, well, that's the action. And when the action is weak, you say that's the reaction. But it's not really like that in reality, because everything is reaction, right? So when you action forcefully say, I'm taking action, I'm doing that, that is actually something is coming from your ego, right? So that's something is not natural. And you will take action based on stimulus in the environment. So some stimulus arises, like a steak dinner. Somebody offer you steak dinner, you want to do something ABC to achieve steak dinner, right? So that's what's happening in the human beings, in the functionality, in the existence. And I think that's all I want to speak today. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you at the Moksha Mukti gathering next Saturday, 3:15 p.m. in Frisco, Texas.